First time of the year, talking some NFL futures. Yanni and I have been doing that on the division breakdown shows. If you have not seen those, go check them out. Here's what we're going to be doing on these shows is we're going to take a look at the way that the markets are moving, the futures markets, and a couple reasons. One is just to get an overview of the perception of these different teams. As we move through the summer, you wouldn't think things would change a lot, but little pieces of news come out and things change a lot. And so if you're just interested in the NFL, I think this will be interesting for you. The other thing is if you're into betting at all, and especially if you're into betting futures, a big part of being successful is timing it right and getting lines either when they move in your direction before they head back the other way, if they do, or also finding lines that are off market. So off of the rest of the market. I don't mean you can't get them. Obviously, that would be stupid. But I mean that are different from the rest of the market. So I'm going to be talking about both of those things. Hopefully some good information, interesting, but also if you are into betting futures, I think this will give you some stuff you're really going to like. That said, also please do like the video. Comment, let me know what you're liking in the futures market. All that stuff, really appreciate it. Really helps. That'll be it for the commercials. Let's talk some futures. We're going to start out talking about the divisions. This is on my NFL futures dashboard. I'll flip over here in a little bit, but the main page on the dashboard gives you an overview of a lot of things. Won't dive into it now. You can get this at bigtastysports.com for free. I do update these lines about once a week before the season starts and a couple times a week once the season gets going. So here's what we're looking at is these are the odds for each of these teams to win the division. I'm not going to go through everything that's highlighted here, but I'll tell you what they mean in case you want to look at the stuff that's there. Any lines that are in red means the line has gotten worse in the last week. If it's green, it's gotten better. The darker the color, the more it's changed. The blue means that it is a line that is different from the rest of the market. And again, the darker the blue, the more it is off from the rest of the market. So let's hit some of the big ones here. First up is the New Orleans Saints. Their odds to win the division across the board, you can see, are in the mid 300s. You can get 375 on Bet Rivers. It's as low as 325 on Bet Online. But Yanni actually pointed this out on our division video. So if you check that out, you've already heard him bring up this line. But on Bovada, the Saints to win the division is plus 440. I haven't bet this line, but the only reason I haven't, and I'm still thinking about it regardless, is I have a couple bets on Atlanta to win the division with the Saints finishing in second or the Bucks finishing in second. And by doing that, I basically got plus money on Atlanta to win the division because I don't think the Panthers are coming in second. But if I hadn't bet anything yet, and even though I have plus 440 on a team that I would say is in a pretty dead heat with the Bucks to finish second, and with the Falcons defense being iffy, Kirk Cousins situation being iffy, it's not like the Falcons are a total lock. I do think if Cousins plays and plays well, they are the best team in this division, largely because of their offense. But hey, the Saints, I think, have a better chance than plus 440. So this is one of those that's off market enough. And Bovada, you're going to see come up a number of times in a lot of these division markets. They have the line that is the furthest off the rest of the market. So if it's something that you like, this is something to go take advantage of. I don't imagine that this line moves back up on the other books. I think if anything, you at some point lose this line on Bovada and we settle in somewhere in the plus 300s. Maybe it's still the mid 300s, but I could see it settling at 330 or 340. So that's one to go check out if you're interested. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts to win the AFC South. Here again, we've got Bovada plus 360, where you can see the rest of the market is in kind of the low 300s. DraftKings all the way down to 310, 325 across a lot of the market, plus 330 on FanDuel. Haven't done the full breakdown on the AFC South in terms of a show yet, but I think this is another one where everybody likes the Texans, and I like the Texans, but there's a lot of reasons to like the Colts in this division as well. I think at least to be competitive, at least to hang in there. Some of that is schedule. Some of it is health. We'll get into all that. I'm not going to go over all of it now. But if you don't think that, the Texans are now, I think they're plus 105. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Plus 105 in most of the market. But a couple of these books are moving to minus money even on them. Does Houston have a 50% chance to win the division? Yeah, maybe. But I think that the Colts, again, can be competitive. So if you like them, plus 360 is a line you might want to grab. Next up is the Green Bay Packers. If you know me, you know I don't like to say anything good about the Packers, but I've already done it on the NFC North video. Here we go with Bovada again, plus 245, while the rest of the market has gotten all the way down around 200 or even underneath it. You see a couple plus 190s there, plus 195. Look, if Jordan Love plays the way it looked like he could play last year, even though they may not have a true number one receiver, we'll see whether that's the case or not. They certainly have a lot of talent across the board. They have a pretty solid offensive line. The defense should be decent. So this is a good team. And what Yanni and I talked about on that division breakdown video that I would still stand by is I don't think that this division is as spread out as the odds indicate. I mean, you've got Detroit here at plus 150 is their best line, which is actually a little bit off the rest of the market on DraftKings as well. So if you like the Lions, I'd go pick that one up. But I don't think they and the Packers are this far apart. Personally, we'll get to the Bears. I don't know that the Bears are as far apart as where they're being lined right now. So I think I'm not going to bet this personally because I don't feel confident and I have a bet in this division already. But plus 245 on the Packers to win the division, I don't think is a bad line at all. I wouldn't want them under 200, but at 245, I think it's pretty good. Let's go to the Chicago Bears because that's the next one up. Those are the three that are outliers by the most amount. Some of these other ones for me are things that I'm interested in betting. And so the gap may not be quite as big. The Bears, look at this spread, though, between the bottom of the market and the top. On DraftKings, the Bears are plus 265. They're almost down in that range with the Lions and the Packers. Not quite. On DK, it's plus 210 on Green Bay. So there's a little bit of a spread there still. But I got the Bears at plus 350. That was not on Bovada. I don't remember which book it was at the time, but you can still get plus 350 on Bovada. If you don't have that, you can get plus 340 on Bet Rivers. I think both of these are good lines. Yes, there is a lot. You never know with a rookie quarterback. I get it. There is absolutely some risk baked into this bet, but it's plus 350. And I think that if Caleb Williams can be pretty good, I don't even think he needs to be great. I think if he can be pretty good, Chicago's going to be competitive in this division. So at plus 350, I like that line. I've already bet it. And you can still get a pretty good line if you want it. I got two more in the division that I want to hit here. And again, as I scroll through, you can look at your favorite team if you want and where they're falling here. Next one up is the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Kansas City, again, we haven't done the full breakdown on this, but aside from a Patrick Mahomes injury, and even if he gets hurt, that defense is good. I think the chances of them winning this division are very high. The reason I'm pointing this one out now is you can see Bovada minus 320, Bet Rivers minus 278. You've got a couple minus 250s. You've still got minus 230 at DraftKings and FanDuel. I like a parlay most likely with San Francisco for division winners here. Both of those lines are probably going to get blown out pretty far. I don't think we're going to see minus 230 again. My only hesitation with the Chiefs is that they don't necessarily take the regular season all that seriously at times. But I think that this is a good line if you have any interest in parlays. If you're listening to the podcast, not watching the video, or not watching the video closely, you might not notice I had to do a quick camera change there. My camera pooped out, so that's a bummer. We'll just go with the old regular computer cam for the rest of this. All right. So Kansas City parlayed with San Francisco to win the division. Likely we'll have a bet coming out on that soon, though I haven't placed it yet. And the last one for me here, another thing that I haven't bet, and I keep going back and forth on whether I want to wait or whether I want to do it now, is the Jets to win the division. They're plus 200 at Bet Online. You can see all the way down to plus 170 at Bovada, plus 185, plus 190, a lot of places. for me, I think that the chances are better than that line is just where I'm at with it. But this is a low enough line that I'm going to take a closer look at the schedule and decide if I want to bet that future now or if I'm going to wait and do it later. All right, that's it for the division stuff. I'm going to flip over here now and we're going to look at some over and unders. So if you do go and get access to the sheet, what you'll see is we start here with wins and we've got the over, and then you won't be able to see it all on the screen at the same time, but we'll do over. And then on this side, you have the under. Also to point out, you got all the different books, but then over here, you have the best line currently. And this column that says last means the line, what the line was before this most recent update. So let's talk about some of these over and unders. First, I want to talk about just a couple lines that are off. Actually, I'm going to start with some over, so we're not going to go there first. Let's talk about big movement. First, we got Dallas. The line on Dallas over 10.5 was plus 133. It's now gone out to plus 164 is the best line you can get. And you can see across the market, we got plus 160, plus 150. ESPN and BetRivers have moved it to 9.5 now at minus 150, minus 152. So this line has had a pretty significant move. Interesting to me, and I'll just flip over here quick, and you can see this on the underside as well. Under 10.5 was minus 135. Now it's minus 180. You can get plus 130 on under 9.5 if you'd want to go there. I know that there's some stuff about Dak's injury and how healthy he'll be, but man, we're in the middle of July. I haven't seen anything that makes me think that there's huge reason for concern on him. The other thing would just be, is there a downward sentiment on the Cowboys? There's a sense that they don't have much depth. Well, they don't have much depth. I think a lot of people don't like their backfield, understandably, though I think their backfield is going to outperform what it did last year with Tony Pollard. I think this offensive line is still okay. So I think this line movement feels like an overreaction. Now, if we find out Dak's going to be out for any large number of games, sure, that would be reason to move the line. I liked Dallas under 10.5 before, so I'm certainly not going to bet them under 10.5 now. I'll continue to watch this. It's not something that interests me for a bet. This is probably about where I would actually line it now, something like this. But that's been a big move. The second big move is the Detroit Lions. Over 10.5 has gone from plus 100 to minus 124. So a little bit of steam on the Lions. This is another one where I don't think there's any significant news that should make the line move this much. There's no major thing with the Bears or the Packers, no huge changes in Detroit that should fuel this move. So this is where I talk about, if you liked Detroit over 10.5, it's a bet, man, you would hope you would have already taken it plus 100. If you like them under 10.5, as I do, I had thought about betting them before, but now I can get plus 110 where before it was just plus 100. I'm actually going to probably sit and wait and see if this gets steamed anymore. If this gets up to plus 120 or plus 125 under 10.5, that is something where I will definitely be considering entering with a bet. I do like Detroit to have 9 or 10 wins this year. I like them to have 10, but I lean toward just a shade under 10. So that's something that I'll be paying attention to. Next move is the Las Vegas Raiders. Over 6.5 has gone from plus 100 to minus 125. That's a pretty consistent number across the market, some as high as 130. This is another one where I think, why? I think I like Vegas to get to 7 wins. I think the schedule's a little challenging at times, but I like them to get to 7 wins. I didn't bet it at the plus 100. I really don't think I'll be betting it at the minus 125. What I say when I mean why is I don't see any reason in terms of news or anything else. It has to be money entering the market. So that just means there are people who have liked Las Vegas to go over 6.5. I would tend to agree with that. But if you like the over, I don't know, you could grab it now. I'd be surprised if this line gets a lot worse. Maybe it ends up hanging out here. We'll see. And then the other really big mover, and this is correlated to the Cowboys. If the Cowboys odds are getting worse, well, I mean, better for you if you want to bet unders or bet them to win the division. That's certainly going to affect the Eagles line, and that's what we've seen here. The Eagles over 10.5 was plus 105. It's moved to minus 120. You can see it's as high as minus 140 some places in the market. So the Eagles are getting a lot of steam. And the Eagles, we talked about this in the NFC East breakdown. I like them to win this division. I think that Jalen Hurts was probably injured. They really fell apart at the end of last season. I like some of the coaching changes that they've made. They get everybody healthy. Even with Jason Kelce gone, this offensive line is still going to be very, very solid. The schedule is not incredibly brutal. So Philadelphia, I have a bet on Philly and Dallas to finish 1 and 2, the dual forecast, either order in the division. I think that was at minus 120 or something like that. I still like that. I think Philly has a great chance to get to 11 wins. It's not something I bet before, though, so I'll sit that one out. But if you do like the under on Philly, that's gone from minus 115 to plus 110. So if you're on the other side on Philly and you think, hey, I don't like Philly this year, you got a better line going on there. Two more things I'm going to point out here on the over-unders. First up, I want to talk about the Chargers. This is another team where we haven't done the full breakdown yet. I won't do it all now, but I would say for this year, I am not high on the Chargers. I won't get into all the reasons why. Some of them might be evident. I think even this number at 8.5, now minus 144, as high as minus 177 to go over 8.5, is really fueled by Jim Harbaugh being there and by the sense that this division is weak, other than the Chiefs, which maybe it kind of is, but I think Vegas is okay. What I like here is the best line on the Chargers under 8.5 is plus 140 now. It was plus 130 before. A couple places it's still plus 130. This is another thing where I think it's likely I'll come out with a bet on this soon. I'm at 90% that's going to happen. So I like that line move. The only other thing for me here would be, do they continue to get some steam, and do I get an even better line? Could I even get a under 9.5 at some point, even if it's not plus money anymore? That's one I'm watching. The other one, this isn't one I'll be betting, but I wanted to point out because Washington is likely to not be great this year. There's a lot of volatility on this team, but the defense is spotty. The offensive line is not even spotty. It's just not good. The skill position players are fine, not great. We moved from plus 100 to plus 110 on the under 6.5. So if you don't like Washington, I like them to be around 6 wins. I think I have them at 6.2 or something. So I guess this would be an okay bet, but it's not one I'm super interested in with those kind of margins. Those are the updates on the futures markets for the NFL. I'll click over real quick here. This is the main page of the dashboard. And so one of the things that you can see here, for instance, is the division odds. These are the best division odds are updated automatically here. Gives you the implied probability and then my probability. And so you could check out and see where I think there's margin. For example, I talked about the Jets and betting them at plus 200. That's an implied probability of 33.3%. I have them at 44.57% chance of winning this division. You can see why I would be considering making a bet on this. It also has strength of schedule here, projected wins, over under is here with the lines updated as well. So if you want to see any of that, go check out bigtastysports.com. You can sign up to get it there for free. Again, please drop a comment. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I will be back in the coming weeks with more updates. Have a great day.